CNN is the left. You guys have completely
Sir, that
lost
is a lazy
control.
argument. Just answer the question.
It is not a lazy argument. It's clear. It's clear.
Just answer the question. Why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach what is happening in the world at the time?
Whether it's what happened January 6th or whether it's what happened in Portland, Oregon, CNN does so from a slanted, canted view towards Marxism and the left.
Your bill does not address CNN. There's not a student in Texas who is going to learn anything more about you slamming CNN. Answer the question, why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach about the widely debated issues of the day?
You know, there's been a lot when it comes to education, and we've been discussing that, you know, pushing the truth is what matters, and the truth may hurt a lot of white people and force white tears and white action, which is usually led in what? White supremacist, systemic things. So Texas Governor Abbott, everybody knows Mr. Abbott, he signed counter critical race theory law. And this is a quote from the Governor Abbott's Twitter. He said, "To keep Texas the best state in the nation, we can never forget why our state is so exceptional." He said, "I signed a law establishing the 1836 Project," sounds pretty racist to me, "which promotes patriotic education and ensures future generations understand Texas values. Together, we'll keep our rich history alive." What I hear is, together, we'll keep our racist, rich, no reparations for Black folks, history alive. And so this right here is very problematic because it's going to, you know, Texas is just a problematic state for me. It just really is. It just really is, because they have the governor, they have the mayor, everyone wrapped in a lot of, they're doing 6 jobs to prevent people from learning what the history really is of Texas, or from their children learning the history of just the actual history of racism, the actual history of the fact that Christopher Columbus didn't found the Americas. He's afraid, and they're afraid of making America what it once was before it was colonized. And that's free. And that's, you know, we're not free. No one here is free, but they only want white folks to be free. So if we continue to mold and mend the minds of our younger generation to keep them in a state where they don't know any information about the truth that, or the lies that our former teachers told us, then it's going to keep us breeding and creating little white supremacists in schools. And those are going to be our doctors and our lawyers. Those are going to be our mailmen. Those are going to be our neighbors. Those are going to be the people that sell us homes. Those are going to be, and it's going to continuously be problematic. So what Governor Abbott is doing is an issue. And I know you said you had a clip for us to roll, David, where it comes to an argument about this whole situation. Let's take a look.
Going to go through this one element at a time. The first element is, why should teachers not be compelled to talk about what is happening? How can teachers talk about the insurrection or ignore it? Don't teachers lose credibility if they see an insurrection, but the teachers are not compelled to discuss what is happening at the Capitol or give context to what is happening in the country? We'll get to the second element of how they do that, but shouldn't they be compelled to at least teach what is happening in the world or give some information about what's happening in the world around them?
But that's the problem, is you guys, the left, you are the left, CNN is the left. You guys have completely lost
Sir, that is a lazy argument. Just answer the question.
It is not a lazy argument. It's clear. It's clear.
Just answer the question. Why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach what is happening in the world at the time?
Whether it's what happened January 6th or whether it's what happened in Portland, Oregon, CNN does so from a slanted, canted view towards Marxism and the left.
Your bill does not address CNN. There's not a student in Texas who is going to learn anything more about you slamming CNN. Answer the question, why shouldn't teachers be compelled to teach about the widely debated issues of the day?
They can't be compelled to teach it from a leftist point of view. If they would like to teach it, second paragraph, a teacher who chooses to discuss these topics must do so from a diverse and contending perspective without showing deference to any one perspective.
Get to the second element of how they
pause it real quick. Yeah, pause it right here real quick. So here's where I love how he framed that. He's saying why, because this is the bill's author, and it's basically he's saying why are we not wanting to teach our children? What is the problem with letting them know what happened in history, what people did on January 6th? Why is it not important for us to discuss that, to tell our children what happened when we teach them about slavery, when we teach them the lies that like Christopher Columbus founded this and that, when we this is us brushing it under the rug. And he's challenging. And he said, listen, and the first thing that he does is point the finger to the left.
Yep.
And say and point the finger to media. And that's not what the conversation about. The conversation is, hey, why is it not important for our kids to actually know what's happening, what has happened, what literally just happened? Because that will now be history. That will forever be a part of America's history, that they went up to the Capitol and literally did a whole terrorist attack on the Capitol in the name of Donald Trump. Why is it not important for us to teach our kids? And I'll tell you why it's not important for us to teach our kids that, because it helps us mold and frame the false narrative of America and what it stands for. And that's to be free, the land of the free, land of the brave, the melting pot, the one where all immigrants have a place to come and stay. And that, to me, is the biggest problem. So.
Yeah. Agreed. And then you saw how he broke it down. It made sense. The reason is it's kind of mind-boggling, mind-blowing, because you said on the clip, like, they don't want to talk in a leftist way. In other words, you don't want African Americans, or you don't want the heritage, the history that came up. You don't want to talk from the perspective. From our perspective, let's be honest.
Period.
You don't want to talk from a black perspective. Yeah. That's what the issue is. Why not just not say that? You know what I'm saying? And I hate when the politicians get into doing stuff like that, because you're sugarcoating everything. God dang it, say what you mean. You being a man trying to put these bills out there, say what you mean and say what you feel. Like, don't sugarcoat shit. And it kind of annoys me, and I hate it. And that's why I don't get into politics that much, because y'all are trying to use these big fancy ass words, that stuff that people like myself may not understand, but it's in black and white. You don't want to teach it because y'all don't want to be known as the instigators or the people that messed America up, and let it be known that we built this damn country. That's all that is.
And that, to me, is, look, that's been saying cruelty is the point. Okay, now that's exactly what I got from there. No, that's everything, Bubba. You said it, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they don't want their history. They don't want our history to be shown, and they don't want it to be us at the forefront of it all. They don't want to be viewed. They don't want our viewpoints in history. They do not want the pain and suffering. They don't want the fight that we did back on them. They don't want us calling them out. They don't want us holding the mirror to their face to be a part of their history at all. And the CNN anchor had a little bit more to say. I want to play it some more till we get to the end, because I think it gets especially important to see how the bill creator is going to fight on behalf of white supremacy. Let's take a look.
Issues of the day.
They can't be compelled to teach it from a leftist point of view. If they would like to teach it from a leftist point of view, if they would like to teach it, second paragraph, a teacher who chooses to discuss these topics must do so from a diverse and contending perspective without showing deference to any one perspective. But that's not good enough for you. As you question me right now, you're trying to make it sound like teachers have to do this from one perspective and one perspective only.
No, sir, I'm not. Your bill says that they do not have to talk about it at all.
Victor, that is just not.
And if they choose, sir, again, you're attacking CNN does nothing for your cause. Doesn't make a single student in Texas any smarter. Doesn't help a teacher there. But you brought up CNN. My question, sir,
doesn't matter to me. You're not going to do this from a non-biased perspective.
You came onto the show. We invited you. You decided to come on.
So he said a key point. The author, the bill's author, he says, and these are GOP lawmakers, guys. These are our lawmakers that we keep giving them a seat. And I'm just going to point that out before I get to the next point. We keep giving them seats. Mind you, this guy just said diverse, right? He said that this bill is going to be diverse. And I'm only speaking from a diverse point of view, which he called out the CNN anchor and said that, you're speaking from a biased place, yet this whole bill, these people can literally write something that is literally drenched in white supremacy, created to leave out our history and the power moves that we have done, right? Us shutting stuff down, making white folks, white lawmakers, white leaders in America shifty, right? They don't want to put that in history. They don't want to put where they failed time and time again in history. That January 6th terrorist attack, that was a failure. That was a failure on America's part. They don't want to put that in history, and they do not want that blood on their hands. So what this lawmaker is doing is pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and making sure that that's his point. Yet what's written on paper, like you said, Bubba, in black and white, what's written right before us is showing that it's a biased point of view that only assists the white narrative that they've been doing in America, that colonial, that colonization, the colonizer, that colonizer point of view, that colonizer mindset. That's exactly what he's speaking on. And he's speaking to a black anchor who literally has time today, on CNN. And you're speaking to him. He's saying, look, listen, you fighting and making this about CNN still does not make your bill less racist. It still does not make your bill diverse.
Right.
It still does not give us what we need when we're saying why we can't show America without the covering. Why we can't show America for who they really are, for what it really is. And that's what's important. But here goes, just like Republicans, just like people on the far right, just like people who support just like the MAGA crew who support anything radical and anything stupid and anything that is a lie. What they're going to do literally is do it and paint the picture of it and literally say that's not what it is. This is diverse. This is going to help black folks. This is going to help white brown folks. This is going to be something that helps immigrants, us lying about our history and what's happened, and this is going to save us. Look, here is Abbott signing this bill. And this is what, and this has been their thing, Bubba. If you've noticed, anytime they've been signing a bill recently, their background has looked like this, and they got the one black man in the back.
Yep. And I was just about to say, I wonder how much they paid him to be back there, because you can't be okay.
He's over there shucking and jiving. There he
shucking and jiving.
They said they got me to come on in. They said they want me to come on in.
Let me in the office. So I guess I was gonna come on in here and stand behind these good old governor.
Master said I'm gonna march right up on in there. Hey,
Master said he'd be in the office.
David, go ahead. I want to take a listen on what Abbott is saying.
To keep Texas the best state in the United States of America, we must never forget why Texas became so exceptional in the first place. A law creating the 1836 Project does that. The 1836 Project promotes patriotic education about Texas and ensures that the generations to come understand Texas values. Under this law, every newcomer to Texas who gets a driver's license will also get a pamphlet that outlines Texas's rich history, as well as the principles that make Texas, Texas. The law also establishes the gubernatorial 1836 award to recognize students' knowledge of the founding documents about Texas history. I want to thank Representative Tam Parker for his leadership on this, as well as Representative Serrier Representative Toth, Representative White, as well as all the members of the Texas House and Senate.
Girl, for me,
Gregory,
you know what it is for me?
Sir,
It's the black guy in the back.
Ensures that the
He was so
generations to
so
when he said something about the 1836 part, his whole facial expression just
because the ancestors done tapped him on the shoulders, and when they said 1836, the ancestors came and said, "Why are you over there shucking and jiving?"
okay.
Why
Like,
you
yeah,
over there?
you feel it, don't you?
I didn't march. I didn't run through them woods. I didn't leave the plantation for you to do this. Now, you know, here's my thing. Even with Gregory Abbott, even with the governor sitting here and talking to the people and saying how important it is, it's the same way that the lawmaker was just on CNN lying. These are the lies that we were taught. These are the lies that we were told. The exceptional values of being told that the racism, the history, the monuments, the reminders every day that Black people lives don't matter, that immigrants, particularly Mexicans, because I'm talking about Texas, particularly Mexicans, their lives do not matter in those areas. And he's saying that history is rich, that history is very important, that history is to be protected, even though when we're going to talk about what really goes, or when we're going to talk about the history, we're going to lie about it to paint ourselves, to paint our state as something that it's not, and that is good, nothing bad. The way that he signed that document with fervor, it definitely threw me for a loop. Like these are our lawmakers. These are our leaders, y'all. This is why it's important to get them the hell out of here. We were just talking to Mary. I mean, we got Joe Manchin. We got Kirsten Sinema. Joe Manchin was just confronted by people of his party, civil rights leaders trying to make it right, walking up to him and telling him, hey, yo, all this anti-voting stuff that you are for, all this stuff that you're for, can you listen to us and tell, and we're going to tell you why it's not good. This man walked out from that conversation and still didn't give a damn. These are our leaders. They're partnering with the right in bipartisanship moves so that people like Abbott can sit here and still do what works for their party. But what works? What works for the Democratic Party? What works for the people who are suffering? What works for us who have been fighting and who have put these people in place? What works for us? I still haven't seen a thing. We're still fighting here in Georgia, trying to take the HR1. We're trying to get us to be protected in our own voting rights daily. We are fighting this even after we put 2 people in the seats and flip the state blue. We're still fighting. We're still fighting, and we have leaders like this that are telling us that the history of places like Texas, the disrespectful history, is important. And we should not tell our kids or have our kids learn that white folks walk around and shoot up locations because of how somebody looks, because of somebody's sexual preference, because of somebody's gender choice, because somebody's religion. We can't teach them that. We can't teach our kids what just happened yesterday when they ran up on the damn Capitol and fought for a person in their mind because that person didn't win the presidency, the lies, and fought for a lie. It's important that we keep that history and teach our kids that they fought for America. It ain't right. It ain't right.